For 20 years, a woman lay silent in a hospital bed. The world thought she would never return. Until a little boy with a toy drum tapped a rhythm that brought her back to life. This is not just a story about music. It's a story about hope, miracles, and the power of love. For 20 long years, she lay silent. A whole city remembered her rhythm. 3-3-2. A simple beat that children clapped on playgrounds, tapped on classroom desks, and carried in their hearts. It wasn't just a sound anymore. It had become tradition. But before we talk about the miracle that happened one ordinary afternoon, we have to go back. Back to the time when a young woman named Elena Marlowe gave life to a rhythm that would change everything. Elena wasn't born into fame. She wasn't the richest or the most glamorous. But she had something rare, a gift for joy. Wherever she went, she carried a brown drum slung across her shoulder, and with that drum, she shared something simple, something powerful. A pattern of 3 beats, 3 beats and 2 beats. 3-3-2, she would say, tapping it on her drum. Boom 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 boom. Children's faces lit up. Teachers clapped along. Parents leaned in, amazed at how easily their restless children grew calm, focused, even sleepy when they heard the rhythm. Soon it spread. Classrooms across the city used it to teach. Parents used it as lullabies. Playgrounds echoed with the sound. People started calling Elena the heartbeat teacher, because her rhythm felt like the heartbeat of the whole city. But Elena herself never cared for the titles. She didn't want fame or recognition. What she wanted was joy. Joy in the laughter of children. Joy in the sparkle of their eyes when they mastered the rhythm. Joy in knowing that even something so small could bring peace. Her husband, Victor Marlowe, was a wealthy industrialist. Their marriage had filled gossip columns. The rich businessman and the woman with a drum. But while Victor lived in boardrooms and offices, Elena lived in schools, playgrounds and parks. To her, happiness wasn't in fortune. It was in rhythm. Then came the storm. It was late at night. Rain pounded the streets, wind howled through the city, and headlights cut through the darkness. A screech of tires, shattered glass, and silence followed. The next morning, newspapers screamed, "Elena Marlowe fights for life after tragic accident." The city held its breath. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and Elena never woke again. Victor spared no expense. He built her a private hospital wing, hired the best doctors, bought the most advanced machines. But year after year, the result was the same. Elena lay still, her blonde hair slowly turning silver, her chest rising and falling only with the help of machines. Hope began to fade. Friends stopped visiting. Neighbors stopped asking. Even Victor, once full of fierce determination, began to break. He stopped coming as often. He stopped believing. But her rhythm refused to die. Children still clapped it on playgrounds. Teachers still taught it in classrooms. Parents still used it at bedtime. 3-3-2 had become more than a game. It had become a living memory, a tradition that carried Elena's name long after her voice went silent. On the other side of the city, a woman named Amelie worked long hours as a maid in that very hospital. Her job was hard, the pay was small, but she did it for her little boy, Noah. Noah was only 5 years old, bright-eyed, curious, and full of energy. Everywhere he went, he carried a small blue toy drum with a red strap slung across his shoulder. Whenever he was nervous, he tapped it softly, as if it gave him courage. Amelie often told him stories while she worked, and one of those stories was about Elena Marlowe, the woman who had given the city its heartbeat. "She gave us a rhythm, Noah," she would whisper while folding sheets. 3-3-2. Every child knows it because of her. And though she's been asleep for 20 years, her rhythm lives on. Noah believed every word. To him, rhythms weren't just sounds, they were voices. And he believed Elena could still hear hers. One quiet afternoon, while Amelie was scrubbing a sink in the hospital, Noah wandered off. His small feet carried him down a hallway he wasn't supposed to enter. He pushed open a door and stepped inside. There she was, the woman from his mother's stories. Motionless, tubes and wires surrounding her, machines humming with their endless rhythm. Noah clutched his drum. His little voice whispered, "Miss Elena." No answer. But he didn't leave. Instead, he climbed up on a small step near the bed, lifted his sticks, and began to play. Boom boom boom, boom boom boom, boom boom. 3-3-2. The sound was soft, steady, insistent. And in that room, after 20 years of silence, the impossible was about to happen. The little blue drum echoed softly in the hospital room. Boom boom boom, boom boom boom, boom boom. 3-3-2. Noah leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the still woman lying before him. His mother's voice rang in his head. "She gave this rhythm to all of us. It's hers. Miss Elena," he whispered, "if you can hear me, blink on the last two." First there was nothing. Just the cold hum of machines, the steady beeping of monitors. Then her lashes trembled. Once. Perfectly on beat. Noah's little mouth fell open. His heart pounded so loud it almost drowned out the drum. A voice cut through the moment. "Hey! You can't be in here." It was a doctor, storming in with a clipboard under his arm. His face twisted with anger. "This is no place for children. Get out." But Noah didn't move. His small hands tightened on the drumsticks. He played again, louder this time. Boom boom boom, boom boom boom, boom boom. "Miss Elena, blink again." And she did. 1-2. The doctor froze in his tracks. His clipboard slipped from his hands and clattered to the floor. No, that's not possible," he muttered. "That's just a reflex. A coincidence." But Noah's eyes burned with belief. He shook his head and tapped again. "It's her song. She remembers." Just then the door burst open again. "Noah!" Amelie's voice was sharp with panic. She rushed in, a towel still in her hand, her face pale. "I told you not to wander." Her words died on her lips. She saw the doctor's stunned expression. She saw Elena's eyelids flutter in rhythm with her son's drum. Amelie's hand flew to her mouth. Tears blurred her eyes. The doctor's voice cracked as he stammered. She's responding. After 20 years, she's actually responding." Before anyone could take another breath, heavy footsteps thundered down the hall. The door swung open and in stormed Victor Marlowe. His voice was sharp, his eyes burning with years of anger and pain. "What is this noise? Who let a child in here?" His gaze locked on Noah, small, defiant, clutching his drum. Then it shifted to Elena, to the faint twitch of her hand, the flicker of her lashes. Victor's chest tightened. For 2 decades, he had trained himself not to hope. Hope had cost him everything. "Remove him," Victor snapped. His voice was low, trembling with buried grief. "Now!" "No!" Noah shouted back, surprising everyone. His small voice filled the room. "She's listening." Victor took a step forward, fury in his eyes, ready to drag the boy away. And then it happened. Elena's hand twitched again. Beep. Victor froze. His heart slammed against his ribs. For years he had begged, prayed, wept in silence, and nothing. But now, here was his wife, answering to the rhythm he thought he had buried with her.